Hey friends, Andy here. How you doing? Good to see you, but I'm not alone. I have a friend with me. So you're my friends, but also Colin is my friend. Hello, Colin. How are you doing?
How you doing, Andy? My name is Decade Investor, but for today's episode, I will be called your friend, Decade Investor. I'm gonna change my name for the brief second here.
I love it. So Colin, if those of you who do not know, Colin is goes by the name Decade Investor here on YouTube. He's got a channel with how many subscribers now, Colin?
I'm just about to hit 25,000. I'm at like 24,970 last time I checked, so we're
Yeah.
right at 25K.
That's a quarter of the way to 100K, which is the big milestone on YouTube. But you're not just on the YouTube, you're also on Twitter, which is how I found you.
Yep. Yep. I'm on Twitter. That's actually where I started the Decade Investor brand. And I am almost at 70K on Twitter. I just crossed over 69,000. So chugging along to 70K there on Twitter as well.
Man, I'm at like 55 or 56,000 on Twitter, so I've got to like play catch up with you on that man.
I'll teach you all the tricks.
Uh-huh. But Twitter's like that's like your thing, right? I mean, this is like is it still your favorite social media?
Yeah, Twitter by far is my favorite social media page, favorite social media platform. Not a fan of Instagram. I have Instagram as well, like 20 something thousand over there, but I don't like it. To be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of Twitter because just the ability to connect with people like yourself, the ability to, learn from millionaires, multimillionaires that go on the platform and share their knowledge. I see Twitter as a place to go learn. So that's where I go. YouTube is very, very close second. I learn a lot on YouTube, but it's easy for me on YouTube to get down the rabbit hole of educational content, like watching people just film like crazy challenges or like trying to eat 100 hot dogs in a day or whatever. So you can kind of get down the rabbit hole on YouTube a lot easier than you can on Twitter. But yeah, Twitter is my favorite platform by far.
100 hot dogs in a day doesn't sound so much like a horrible challenge as much as it does a really great day to spend.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Maybe it could be 100 hamburgers. You take
Ooh,
the pick of your food.
that's even better. Now we're in the place where I want to be.
Yeah.
So
Hey, you never know. Your friend Andy Food Challenges. That's a new channel.
I like that. That'll get me in trouble though. I don't have the metabolism of my youth. So for those who also don't know this whole like Twitter connection, so once upon a time, your friend Andy had less than 100 followers on Twitter and not a clue about how to do Twitter. But I was like, I had done 6 months on YouTube. I started moving I think I was at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I'm like, okay, I've got some general idea of what to do on YouTube. Still clueless, but more than when I started from zero. And I'm like, I gotta try something else. So I don't know why Twitter was my second go-to, but I jumped on Twitter, and I quickly learned I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And then I actually ran into Colin, who at the time I think you had like 10,000 followers, probably.
Yeah, somewhere around 10, 12,000, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Which is a lot compared to most people. But now looking at our current 50 to 70,000 followers, it's like, well, that's not that big. But at the time, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of followers. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly who reached out to who, but we DM'd each other and started chatting and stuff. And you're actually nice enough before ever like knowing me or interacting with me to like get on a Zoom call and just like walk me through like best practices on Twitter and stuff, and like fixed all my bad habits with Twitter and stuff. And then we talked about YouTube, and the rest is history, so they say. But yeah, it's just a fun connection that I don't know if people are aware of.
Yeah, so I mean, when Andy, I can't remember who reached out to who, but I always love jumping on calls and just like teaching people the platform because Twitter can be such a cool place if you learn some tricks that I've had to learn myself just by trial and error. So I kind of do my good karma to pass it along to people that want to learn how to grow on Twitter and use Twitter to promote their business or whatever they're trying to do, or just have fun. But I want to give back, so I'm always willing to jump on a call and teach people the ropes because, like I said, I've learned the tricks myself. So you might as well learn from those where you want to be, and use their tips that they've learned to expedite that growth.
There's like zero upside to not sharing like stuff like that. I feel like not helping other people grow, like what how does it benefit you? It's not like you're not breeding a new competitor that's going to overtake you and crush you and ruin your life. I mean, yeah, they might be a
Yeah.
competitor one day, but there's room for everybody. Like there's no downside to helping other people.
Right. I mean, the way I look at it is like, at the end of the day, we're all, you and I and others in the space are in like the finance or crypto space. And yeah, there's a lot of creators, but I see it less like, one, like you're taking away from me. I see it as we're working together to just grow the space and grow people that are in the space. I see it as like a hamburger shop where you have like McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger. There's not just one burger company out there. There's multiple. There's mom and pops. Like they're all over. There's so many. There's room for everyone to eat, if that's how you want to say it, in the space. So I see no downside to helping, and I believe in abundance, and everyone gets the ability to share, and everyone has different ways of teaching things that maybe someone who follows me and follows Andy, they might understand it better when Andy says it rather than when I say it. Even though we're trying to say the exact same thing, they understand it better because Andy words it slightly different than I do, just from his own experiences.
And the world is a better place when there's multiple places to eat burgers.
Yep,
Because
exactly.
hamburger is unquestionably the greatest food ever created by human beings, and I will hear no arguments for this. This is just a fact.
Yeah.
And the more burgers there are out there that are delicious, the better.
And you can start filming for your new YouTube channel, 100 burgers in a day, and you go to different shops.
Andy eats hamburgers 24/7 live stream. Done.
Yep. Boom.
Check.
Instant.
So you are 24 years old.
Yep.
And you have a net worth, I believe last I checked, because you publicly share it. So I'm not like revealing something here, of over $200,000. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's crazy because I did not have that at age 24. I didn't have that at age 30. So that's wild. So like so I mean, I'll ask you several questions here, but like maybe talk me through like how your love of like finance and why you started investing and when, kind of that journey.
Yeah. So starting off the bat here, I'm so open about my numbers because as someone who I love to hear other people's numbers, not as a competitive thing, but more of like, hey, I can be where that person is. So I'm so open about my numbers because I hope it inspires other people to be open about theirs. And, my net worth at my age, there's other people that are younger than me that have higher net worth than I do. So it's not like, I'm trying to say I'm this crazy person that has, the highest net worth possible at 24. There's multimillionaires, that are my age. So I just am open about it in hopes it inspires other people. But so when I got into the investing story, when I was 16, 17 years old, I had some money that I had earned. I was doing a little lawn care business with a buddy in the summer. So I had some cash. And at the time, well, I still do now, but at the time I didn't like the bank. But I didn't like the bank back then because I didn't get to see my physical cash. So I'd always be like, I don't know how much money I have. In my back of my head, I'd feel like I had $0 because it was in the bank. Even though I had a debit card, I just felt like I was broke. I had no money. And so I was like, I hate the bank. I'm keeping my money in cash, which, as we know, is a horrible decision. Now I know that. But so I had all this cash, and I was like, what do I do with this cash? Like, how do wealthy people, how do rich people have money, and how do they, keep money or whatever? And I know like my parents had taught me about money, but I was younger and I didn't really, you kind of just blow it off. You're like, okay, mom, okay, dad. So I did my own research too. And I was like, went on Google, like the typical teenage kid, like how to become rich, how to make $1 million. And I was like going on YouTube and I would go on Google and type it in. I'd see books of like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I will teach you to be rich, Millionaire Next Door, like all the typical top finance books that everyone talks about. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to pick some of these up and just read them. So that's what I did. I kind of got into reading them and learning like the power of starting young, but just like the power of investing your money and growing it and multiplying it while you're not having to literally sit there and grow it yourself. And so 16, 17, I was curious, got into the market, thought I was going to be the next like Timothy Sykes. For those who don't know who that is, he's a guy who took like a little bit of money in penny stocks and turned it into multiple millions of dollars. I thought I was going to be that guy, so I was like, penny stocks it is. So I go into not necessarily penny stocks, but really cheaper stocks, in terms of share price, thinking that was going to be the future. And I ended up losing. So I put $400 in total. I ended up losing some of that $400, like more than three of the stocks went down, one went up over the course of 1 year. So I ended up losing some of that $400. And I was like, okay, I'm doing something wrong here. So I took a step back and I realized I'm just going to go this like ETF route. I was like, what, exchange traded funds, like I'm just going to go this route. So that's when I started just simply adding to my ETF portfolio anytime I got money, whether that be for like a birthday or an odd job. I played a sport in college, so I couldn't have a job, but in the summer, I'd maybe ref baseball games, or just anytime I had money, I would throw it into the market when I could. And then I got out of college, got a real job, just started basically just continually adding to my portfolios every single time I could, throwing in some crypto, stuff like that as well, just kind of adding to my assets pretty much. That's what I've been doing ever since I was 16, 17. The reason I say 16, 17, because it was around my birthday, so I don't remember the exact age. So that's kind of my story of how I started.
So what was like, was it books you read? Like why? So yeah, I get the idea of I'm mowing grass, I'm earning cash, and I don't want it in the bank, but it's a big leap, I guess the penny stock thing I can understand because kids, want to get rich fast and they read some
Right.
story or whatever. But after that failure, which, I think we all have, I have all my early crypto stuff, which is big failures. After we have that initial failure, how'd you make the leap from, okay, penny stocks or cheap stocks isn't the route for me. I need to go with index funds. And more so, I now have this like conviction or belief that all my spare money I need to like dump into, S&P 500 index funds, for example. Like what's the in between portion of that before you took that leap?
Yeah, I don't know like the one like deciding factor. I'm not really sure what it was.
What was your aha moment, Colin?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, it was more of just like I was from when I realized that after that 1 year of holding those cheaper stocks, those stocks, I couldn't even tell you like what the companies did. I had no idea. I was just like, oh, this one looks good. I'm gonna buy it, which is horrible to do. So when I like after that, I don't remember exactly like again the aha moment per se, but it was something of the along the lines of like I did more research on like how can I build wealth in a safer way, or like ETFs, right? They're lower risk, the ability to put your money diversified instantly over the course of 300 companies, 100 companies, 500 companies, thousands of companies, whichever ETF you pick. It was just kind of like understanding that, yeah, you're not going to get some crazy like moonshot where you're going to turn one stock from $5 to $5,000 or $500, but you're going to build over the course of years, continually adding to it, lower risk, build up your portfolio. So I don't necessarily have like or remember the aha moment. Maybe it was a video I watched. Maybe it was a certain book I read. I don't recall. But there was something that made me make the switch, and I'm grateful that whatever it was did, because that allowed me to build the portfolio I've had. Because if I would have stayed doing individual stocks, I probably would have learned my lesson with $40,000 versus $400, which is, in the grand scheme of it, a lot of money, like, different. So, I don't know. I wish I had the answer for you, but I don't necessarily remember. But it was something along the lines of realizing that I need to be more safe in terms of my, or less risky in terms of my equities.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of the you see the calculators and stuff and the examples, and I know this was one of my wake up calls. And but again, I was in my 30s when I was reading this information. But it's like if you take a person who starts investing at age 25 and they put $1,000 per month into S&P 500 until they're age 35, then they stop and they don't put any more money into it. But then you take a 35-year-old and you have them invest the same $1,000 every single month until the age of 60. That person who only invested for 10 years just because they started 10 years sooner has like way more money than the secondary person, just showing you like the power of starting young and like compounding and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been lost on my dumb brain once upon a time. But at some point that went in there and it made sense. I'm like, I'm now starting late. I need to like get on this as soon as I possibly can, because literally every year that you wait, it's just putting you farther and farther behind. You can catch up, but you have to work a lot harder.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that being able to, for me to understand that so young, I've been okay with maybe being less risky on my, equity investments and kind of sticking more towards S&P, which historically averages 10 to 11% before inflation every year. so I can be a little bit less risky because I have that time for my money to grow and to compound. So kind of my strategy in that is there.
Well, so yeah, I mean, it's just funny. Always think it's so interesting to like figure out when when a person got started or how they got started or whatever, like their money journey. But now, and I think maybe just in the time since we've known each other is when this like, this new avenue of investing into cryptocurrency has kind of awakened. So maybe like walk me through like what before crypto happened, like what kind of led up to you deciding, okay, I'm gonna put money into cryptocurrency. I'm gonna dip my toes in here, and then maybe what even got you a little bit even over into the deeper end.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember hearing about like Bitcoin and all that, like mostly Bitcoin and Ethereum, in 2020. So backstory on Decade Investor, I didn't start the brand until middle of 2020, and before that, I was investing before, but I had never heard of really at crypto at all. No one in my real life had ever talked about crypto, so I didn't hear about crypto until I got on Twitter, followed people, and hearing people talk about like yourself and other people buying Bitcoin, or other cryptocurrencies. So I didn't really hear about it until mid 2020, and so I started to like read it or whatever and try to understand it. But I was also at a point where like inherently I'm a low risk investor. So I was like, okay, I hear about this Bitcoin, I hear about crypto. I think it's a cool space. I think it's a really awesome space, but I want to make sure my safer investments are in a good spot before I really dip my toes into it and start trying to understand it. Because at the time I was like, this, I don't even know if this is going to be anything. So I was just kind of nervous. And again, I'm a low risk investor, or inherently a low risk investor. And then as I've built my portfolio up in my stocks, I've since I'm so young, I'm like okay with taking on some more risk, as some may call that, in the crypto space. So I've been really researching more, after that, researching more, trying to understand more, learn about it, understand the future. And then I had the opportunity to meet Andy in person, in 2021. And I had been buying Bitcoin for a while, but he really was like, if you spend like 20 minutes with Andy and you ask him about Bitcoin, he will have you, really convinced on it. So, I was like, after that weekend, I was like, okay, I'm going to double down on my Bitcoin, buys, and, focus on hitting goals in Bitcoin that I want to own. And, so then I started researching more and trying to understand it, because at the end of the day, like Andy could speak all he wants to me, but I want to make sure I understand it as well. So I put what he taught me and what he was telling me, and then did my own research and really like feel a strong conviction in it. So that's why I started buying more and really buying heavily, as of recently, because I see a really good opportunity in it. So it was more of like I was turned off from it because I wanted to make sure that my equities and my stock investments were good, in a good place before I jumped into it. But now that I'm building that up and it's in a good place for me where I'm at, I'm okay taking on some more crypto. And as I understand it more, I want to buy more crypto. So that's kind of the story of my crypto.
And not just like dipping your toes more and more into Bitcoin, but you, Colin, are now a full coiner, correct?
Full coiner. So I put out a tweet that I own. I got my goal of one coin, and tweet went like crazy. It's a couple thousand, 7,000 likes or something like that. And then people were like, never share your Bitcoin amount. So I commented, and so I'm sad to announce that in a boating accident in Miami, I lost all my Bitcoin. So I was a full coiner for like a day, and I lost it all. So I don't have any more Bitcoin, but hopefully I can build it back up very soon. But
I'm really sorry to hear that. It's really interesting that you tell me that, because I was also on a boat, and I just as I do when I'm on boats, I had my hardware wallet and my seed phrase with me, and I just very carelessly just dropped it in the water, and it just sank. And then I watched the fish, and they came and they ate it, and they all. So my Bitcoin is also lost forever into the ocean, unfortunately.
Yeah. So hopefully I get back there soon, and very happy to be a full coiner one day.
I didn't realize that tweet had got 7,000. That's awesome. People get excited about that stuff.
Yeah, man. It was exciting, and I really made it a goal to hit what I wanted to hit in Bitcoin. And so I'm still adding. I'm not gonna stop adding to Bitcoin, and I believe in it, so I'll be continuing to add, but maybe not as heavy at the moment because I kind of went over what I wanted to allocation of like stock and crypto. So I'm pretty uneven right now. So I'm trying to build the stocks back up. But yeah, I'm a Bitcoiner, I guess they call me now.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tier of Bitcoin commitment that very few people will achieve. I mean, there's only 21 million Bitcoin total, and you have one of those 21 million, and there's like 48 or 46,000 millionaires on this planet,
Hmm.
so they can't even all have one full Bitcoin. So it's so early to be able to have like an entire Bitcoin. It's a pretty rad feeling, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think that I was buying it at, 60, 50. So I was like, if I was buying it then and I still believed in the future of it, why would I not try to buy even more at, high 30s, low 40s?
Hmm.
So that's why I was like, I'm going to double down when the price is low, or lower, and in the low 40s, high 30s, and just try to get my goal. And I was able to grab it, and still stacking every day though.
Yeah, it's a weird psychology, man. It's like I see this all the time. I mean, I'm sure you see it too, like on Twitter and then the YouTube comments and stuff. And it's like, as the price is climbing, as the price is going up higher and higher, as Bitcoin is getting closer and closer to 65,000, 68,000, nearly $70,000 per coin. People are like rabid. They're buying it like crazy. They're gung ho, bullish about it. But then and buying it, But then as it dips and starts dropping down, it's like, and then everyone's like, oh, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I don't want to buy into it. I don't want to add any more to my position, even though they can get way more of it for their money than they could previously. It's a very interesting, I don't actually, it's probably like a psychological, like, term for doing this, but it's just very interesting to see it play out. But for those of us who are have a lot of conviction and a lot of belief behind the asset, as it dips and stuff, we go, this is a bargain. I want to buy more, get more for my money during this time. So I think that's an important distinction, what you just said. It's like, if new people can learn how to develop that, I think that will serve them very well in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to develop that. It's not. I'm not.
No.
That came for me with being in the investing space. Stocks mostly, since I was 17. But for me, like it's one of those things where now, like that's how I think of everything. It's like, if I believe in this stock, if I believe in this asset, if I believe in Bitcoin or whatever it is, if I believe this thing will go up in value in the future, then if I was buying it at this price and it drops in price, like if I still hold that conviction, why would I not want to continue to buy it? It definitely is a human psychology thing because A, no one likes to lose money, and also B, like it's just psychologically, it's like, Bitcoin's now only 40% less than what it was, or 50% less. It's not going to do as well. Like it's done for, right? That's just human psychology. So if you can learn that and get that conviction to where you swap that from Bitcoin's never going to recover to, like, I believe it's going to be 500,000, $1 million, 100,000, whatever you believe it's going to be, more in value than it is today. Then you can kind of, it helps you with these times of the market being down or flat.
Bitcoin has been, the obituary for Bitcoin has been written hundreds of times at this point. People have pronounced Bitcoin dead so many times over the past 13 years. Yeah. So it's just the reports of Bitcoin's death are greatly exaggerated. It's not going
Yeah.
anywhere, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, the more I like follow it, the more I read stuff about it, the more I, see these companies that literally just, tweet about Bitcoin every day, or crypto, but specifically Bitcoin. It seems like every week there's something, we just had the Fidelity of allowing Bitcoin in the 401k, retirement accounts. And it was an African country. We talked about it today. Some African countries now making Bitcoin a legal tender in their country. So it's like, there's more things that point to it to be a part of our future and continue to grow than it to not be. And until I see that switch, I'm going to continue to put my money where I see that happening. So
Yep. So where is your what's the value of your crypto portfolio today?
I don't know, because I just been stacking my Bitcoin so much that I haven't really kept track of everything else. It's definitely, in terms of portfolio percentage, it's probably closer to 30% of my portfolio, like overall net worth, total investments. and which is a little bit higher than I want to. I was ideally wanted to be around like 15%, but like I said, I've been trying to stack the Bitcoin, so that's why it's overcompensated on one way. But ideally, the more I get into this stuff, the more I'm like, I'm okay putting more money into it. So, like I said, 15 was what I want it to be, 15%. It might be more like hang around 20% now. But like I said, it's around 25, maybe a little bit more than 25% currently, from my stocks to my crypto portfolio, which is mostly in Bitcoin. I've just been stacking that. Everything else, like any Ethereum or Solana I buy, is usually like moved around into NFTs or other things like that. So I don't necessarily keep track of those as much.
I mean, in my opinion, I think you can try your hardest to like balance that, but if we get into another bull run or another a really exciting market for crypto, it's not going to be 25%. It's not going to be 30. It's going to go to 50% of your net worth, 70% of your net worth. So what are you going to do? Are you going to take profits along the way? You're going to rebalance it? Are you just going to go, okay, this is my new normal? Like what's happens next?
Yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin, becomes a $500,000 coin or $1 million coin,
Which it
um,
will.
yeah, when it
Uh-huh.
does, then I'll make decisions then.
Hmm.
I am buying Bitcoin specifically to never, like, I don't have an exit strategy right now with it. My strategy is to continue to stack it, and just add to it. So currently it's just buy as much as I can and hold it. Now that will change. Like if it, that when it hits the $1 million or when it hits 500,000, that will obviously change because a lot of things will change. But currently my plan is just to hold. And let's say it hits a mil. Like I did a thread on Twitter where I basically transposed Andre Jick's video into word format on Twitter, explaining how Bitcoin could hit $1 million by the end of 2030. So let's say in the next 8 years, it does hit $1 million. Depending on what my portfolio looks like, I might sell or I might not. It just depends on what my equity, my stock and portfolio looks like and what that's worth as well. So if that makes Bitcoin 80% of my portfolio, then I might make some decisions to sell off some. But if that only makes my Bitcoin only 30 or 40%, then I'd be okay holding some and probably not selling for the time being.
Yep. I mean, for me, and I get asked, like, when will you sell your Bitcoin? Stuff like that. And for me, it's not my largest position in my portfolio, but I do hope that one day it is again, and I hope to like stack it up. But almost everything else, almost everything that is not Bitcoin in my portfolio, even though I do have long-term visions for a lot of it, and I really do think it has bright futures, and I will probably never sell 100% of those positions. Most of those truly do just exist in my portfolio to give me more Bitcoin or to capture profit in the future. And I'm really hoping that my core Bitcoin position is something that I never sell.
Mm.
That if it's $1 million asset, and right now I've got about 7 Bitcoin, so it's $7 million, and I borrow against it, and I
Yep.
live on that. When I'm borrowed against it, and it goes up, to 1.5 million, then I pay off that first. I just do the thing that the ultra wealthy do, but with that asset. But I'm hoping that I'll have much more than that from all the other things. And that I have a core position I never touch, but then maybe I do take profit on other portions of it because I'm making more from these other projects, stuff like that. So I don't know, I'm curious, like, do you have similar thought? Do you want to build up other alternative crypto positions that feed into it like that build it up, or like what's the rest of the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like Bitcoin is going to be my backbone to my portfolio probably forever, unless some like small. I mean, I don't really buy any like small caps or anything like that. Like any NFTs I bought that I've made profits on, I've sold, or if they're paying me in passive income, I take that, sell it, and put it into Bitcoin. So everything funnels into Bitcoin, like you said. It funnels into that backbone of my portfolio. And I was going to mention that you already said it, but I was going to mention it too. Is like if it does become a million plus per coin, then I would just do what anyone does that has a big portfolio, is just simply borrow against it and use that. Never sell it, but just borrow against it. So, but yeah, I would just borrow against it and use that to fund my lifestyle, living expenses or whatever. But I don't really see any need to sell Bitcoin if it does do that crazy million plus. Yeah, just simply borrow against it like any wealthy person said does, and there you go. You never have to sell, and you
Hmm.
don't have to pay. At least in the stock market, you don't have to pay taxes on if you borrow. So another added benefit there as well.
Hmm. Speaking of crypto passive income, what are your favorite crypto passive income plays right now?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of NFTs, I got really lucky on an NFT project and Bulldog Billionaires. It's their floor prices kind of dropped some since it was at one of its highs, but it pays really, really solid passive income every single day. You stake your NFT, you earn passive income in their token, and then you can use that to buy more. You can use that to sell. You can use that to increase what you're getting in your daily ROI or your daily return. So NFT wise, Bulldog Billionaires, big fan of those. But in terms of outside of that, of course, I had Anchor Protocol, and then I honestly depleted most of that to buy Bitcoin to hit my Bitcoin goal. So I'm slowly building that back up in as my my crypto savings account. And then staking my crypto like my Matic or Avalanche or something like that, allowing you to stake it and earn a set percent return in the lifetime of that stake. So I mean I like to have my DGen in my crypto node space as well. But those are all kind of struggling right now, minus a few projects still in them. And, I'm investing in, hopefully the teams find ways to turn that around. But like I said at the beginning of this, I'm inherently like a low risk person. So I like the more safer stuff. Like, yeah, it's safer in terms of crypto, like 13%, 18% Anchor, 19%, or 19.6 or whatever it is, savings account per se that you're not going to get your 1% a day in these crypto crazy nodes stuff, fake nodes, but it's pretty safe compared to those crypto nodes. So I like to be in lower risk crypto stuff, even though I have my DGen NFTs and crypto, NASs and DASs. I think for me, it's important to have my backbone of foundation of crypto passive income in a Anchor savings account or in staking that's a little bit more low risk. So those are kind of my crypto plays, and then like I said before, taking all those earnings, funneling them back into the big daddy of them all, Bitcoin.
How much did you buy? What was your average buy price in Solana for your Bulldog Billionaires?
I got in most of them at 3 or 4 Solana each.
Hmm.
I did buy one at 15, and but 8 of those I got in at 3 to 4 Solana, maybe a little over 4 for one of them, but yeah, 3 to 4 Solana, and then the floor price today was like 20 something. The height was at like 30
Hmm.
something. So yeah, I've done really well with those. I sold a couple off to secure profits, but still staking most of those and earning passive income on that as well.
Yeah, Colin mentioned this Bulldog Billionaires thing to me at one point, and I don't know anything about NFTs, but I was curious and I was interested, and so I looked into it, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And so I actually bought, I think, three for right around 6 to 7 Solana each. And then we got to talking again several weeks later when they were just like zooming, and then I bought two more at like 14 to 15, or maybe even like 16 or 17 Solana each, just kind of aped into it. And then, yeah, now it's like at 24 Sol floor price or so, but it hit as high as 30. I have one listed for sale in the mid 20s, which would be nice to secure some profit. But yeah, that one's been a really fun one.
Yeah.
Not bad for basically a first time NFT project, and it actually did something really cool. Um,
Yeah, I've tried to buy some other NFT projects since, and not having the same luck as I did with Bulldog Billionaires. But I have a couple that I'm in that hopefully NFTs. A lot of it's big portion of it is, or most of it's like who's the community, who's leading the project. Are they actually doing things to make things happen? So I'm trying to find projects that have really good communities and community leadership that will hopefully make the value of those NFTs go up.
And the cool thing about Bulldog Billionaires, which you said, and some of the other ones you have looked at, is like the utility aspect. Like you stake these things, you get paid in Bone Bone token,
Yep.
and you can like cash that out on a weekly basis and like make money back, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's interesting that there's like aspects to it like that, which makes it stand out than just buying it just for the art's sake and hoping it like goes up in value or something.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like crypto is such a cool place because you can make legit money, in like in the space, in a higher than 0.05% in a savings account. Yeah, you're taking on more risk, but you can do a lot better than that. And so a lot of people will be like, well, that's Bone is fake money. Okay, you're right. Like it's yeah, the token itself maybe, but I'm transferring the token into Solana, into Bitcoin, or into a stable coin where that's real internet money, rather than just like a token to a project. So yeah, like my Bitcoin value has gone up because of Bulldog Billionaires, because I'm maybe
Mhm.
the bone I'm earning I'm selling, put so like it is real money. You're taking on a little more risk, but it can be transferred into real money. Or I could have sold it and got it into my bank account. So there is real money there.
I mean, real money is such a misnomer. Anyways, what is real money? There's no such thing as real money.
Right.
It's money or things like this. It's the value comes from whatever two people agree upon, and then selling and buying with it. That's all that matters. And if you get magic internet money Bone tokens and they are paid to you, and someone else is willing to buy them from you for $3 to $5 per token, well then guess what? That's real money at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe later it goes higher, maybe later it goes lower. But if there's two people who are willing to make that transaction happen, well, then congratulations. That's a real transfer of value as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start a campaign where I'm going to go pick up rocks outside, and I'm going to try to use that as dollar.
Hmm.
Like, hey, I'm going to give you 2 rocks for a soda and see if it
Hmm.
works. But 'cause that's kind of what money is now. It's just
Hmm.
we have agreed upon $1 value, $5, $10, $20, and they can well, not we, but the government can just print it like it's going out of style. There's hey,
Hmm.
we'll just make some more, right?
Uh-huh. Well, keep me in the loop, so that I have whitelist access to your rock crypto or your rock currency project. I'm very
Yes.
interested.
Yeah, well, this one has no real utility yet, but that's in
Oh,
the roadmap. It's in the roadmap.
excuse me. You can hit someone over the head with a rock. You can throw it through a window. You can,
Oh
if you
yes,
lock yourself out of your house, you can break into your own house. I mean, rocks have real. This is a real currency with real utility. I think we're
yeah,
onto something here.
yes. We pre-sale will be on May 5th. So
Okay, very good. So you've got the core positions in crypto and stuff, and you've played with some NFTs, and you've played with some degen stuff, which is all fun. I've gone down that rabbit hole a little bit myself. But in my crypto passive portfolio, it's mainly the utility nodes and Anchor protocol and stuff like that. So like. Do you have a plan to add some utility nodes, to add some other crypto passive income projects, some hardware or anything like that that you are looking at or eyeing or think in the near future you will add into the passive portfolio?
yeah, so I've been watching a guy on YouTube named your friend Andy, and he's really big on Flux.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I told you now, I told you that I want to get Flux, and I do want to get Flux. I
Mhm.
just have been busy with things the last couple weeks, and that's not necessarily on my priority list, but it will be. I do want to get Flux. I do want to have real utility nodes. I'm looking at some other projects as well. But I do want to get real utility nodes in my portfolio that I believe will be a part of our future of connecting the interweb, Web3, the world like that, and get paid to be a part of that system. So I don't have any yet, but there are definitely plans in the works to get that, because I think that is decentralizing the web. It can be a really really big thing, and it has a big future. I mean,
Oh,
I'm someone that's like big on the metaverse and big on NFTs as well. Like I'm big on this. Like I'm bullish on that in the future. So
mhm.
I sit in the decentralization and like the Web3 stuff. Big on that.
I think deprioritizing Flux acquisition so you can prioritize Bitcoin acquisition is okay in my book. So I'll give you a pass on that one.
Yeah.
Uh,
See, I can't let you down too much. So I had to pick one or the other. So
I do have two loves, two things vying for my attention and affection. So that is true.
yes.
Speaking of all this passive crypto income stuff in case you don't know, which you probably do if you've watched me before or Colin, because we talk about it all the time. Maybe you're tired of hearing us talk about it. I don't know. But the two of us, we did start a community together called Sleep Money Club. And if you have any interest in life and like hanging out with friends, meeting people that share your same values or interests or passions when it comes to crypto or building wealth or whatever, you want to be around like-minded people, well, then you should really consider taking a look at Sleep Money Club. We're in there talking about strategies about crypto passive income all the time. We've been having projects come in there and do AMAs. We have crazy giveaways and whitelist opportunities, and it's like an incredible content library of guides and tutorials and all kinds of stuff like this, plus a bunch of teachers who are there to teach you about mining and DeFi and GameFi and Ethereum, Bitcoin, blue chips and Anchor Protocol, and you name it. Plus, probably one of your favorite YouTubers is in there. We've got a bunch of YouTubers who are in there hanging out with us too. So as always, link down in the description. I got to pitch. We're both on here. I got to pitch Sleep Money Club. But me and Colin are literally in there every day, and we're talking in there every day. So if you want to like chat with the two of us, this is a very easy way to do that. That's why we've built it, basically.
Yeah, someone messaged today and said, I'm surprised that you and Andy are in here, are actually in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit on my computer all day, and I have a separate screen, and on my separate screen sits the Discord. And I'm always in there, answer questions and chat about whatever's going on in the crypto space. Just trying to provide as much information and value from me. Andy's doing that as well. And then, like he said, we have a team of people that literally, like, their job is to research. Their job is to create guides. Their job is to, break down step by step how to set up a MetaMask, or maybe even more in depth, like how to do Anchor Protocol or whatever it may be. We have people that we have set this up so that people can get as much value out of it to whatever they want to be, from crypto to, like he mentioned, mining, NFTs, GameFi. I know nothing about GameFi. We have teachers in there for GameFi that are explaining how to make money playing video games. I used to play video games a lot. So it's like, I would have loved to get paid to play a video game. So learn that. So there's just so many ways in the crypto space, like we've been mentioning, to make money. And this is a space for people to come in there and learn how to start earning that crypto passive income.
Crypto is so weird, man. It's like, I've been in it for 5 years now, and I started by like YOLOing and FOMOing into everything that every influencer talked about, and I didn't know, what the heck I was buying. But I slowly, learned more and more. I learned about mining, and I started getting into projects early and mining them on launch day, and learning about Bitcoin inevitably, and then like interest accounts, and dipping my toes in DeFi and stuff. I still don't understand most of it, but it's this weird space where there's like, because there is GameFi and there is like, NFTs and art collection and tradables and stuff like that. And it's like, it's kind of all things to all people, to where it's like, I don't know, pick your interest in the crypto world, and you can specialize in just that thing and probably find a way to make considerable amounts of money over the long haul, doing that thing. It's just wild. I mean, do you ever think about that? Like what the depths of this thing we've like ventured into?
Every day, something new where someone's like, "Hey, have you heard of this project?" or "Have you heard of this?" and I haven't. And it's just like, you go and you look at it, and then they talk about this one thing that you've never heard about, that's in this one project, that's in this protocol, that's nothing up, no other project has done. So you have to learn that, or you understand that, or, oh, I didn't even know that was a possibility. And then you go down this rabbit hole, and no, it's never ending. And that's why I like the space, because I like to learn. So it's like, every day you can learn so much, and you can just go right back up to the top and go over the basics of Bitcoin. It's like, you just never can stop learning. There's so much opportunity to like expand your knowledge, and there's so much opportunity to earn money in the space as well. Especially because, not every single project out there is going to succeed, but there is opportunity to make money while you're in it.
Yeah. And on that topic of not every project succeeding, there's still, I'm still making money every day with crypto. I'm still excited about crypto. But if we look at if we look at CoinGecko today, or I look over at my Bitcoin price ticker over there, I know that today has been kind of a red day, and we've been in this period where things are kind of depressed, not just here, but the stock market. Inflation is rampant. There's a war happening. The world has all kinds of crazy events, and crypto market, like the other markets, are suffering a little bit. So, like, maybe what is your, what's your take on everything that's happening right now? How are you viewing this time in the markets?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of cliche, but you have to zoom out and you have to
Mm.
look at the bigger picture. Not every single crypto project out there is going to succeed. Not every single NFT project out there is going to succeed. It might not, they're not all going to be here a year from now. You look at the Bitcoin, or you look at the crypto top 10 list, 5 years ago then versus today, and in the next 5 years, it's probably going to look different. You're going to have a couple people, couple projects that stay, but the top 10, top 20 list is going to look pretty different. And so, but you have to look at the fact of, if you believe in the project, you believe in the team behind the project, or you believe in that NFT or whatever it is, then the short-term volatility is normal in the stock market, in the crypto market, in the real estate market, even as well. Volatility is normal in the short term. So you have to share the conviction of, like, I believe this is going to go up in value in the future. I believe in whoever's running this project. I believe in the team. But also B, you have to understand that, hey, if I'm putting money into Bitcoin that I need tomorrow, probably not the smartest idea. If I'm putting my money in the stock market that I need tomorrow, probably not the smartest idea. So you have to be, put in money that you're okay with seeing go up and down in value over the course of a longer term. Because in the short term, anything can go down in value, anything can go up in value in these kinds of markets. But for me, like I said, it's in my name, Decade Investor. So I'm investing into 99% of my money into long-term things. I have my degen nodes that are not long-term, but most of my money is going in long-term, and I'm okay seeing Bitcoin go from 69,000 to 40,000, and I'm still buying. I'm okay seeing my S&P 500 portfolio go from over $400 for VOO to under $400, and I'm still buying, right? Because I'm okay seeing the short-term volatility, because I believe in that asset. I believe in that investment in the long term. So I think if you can get out of the short-termness of, especially in crypto, like you see people, I took $1,000 in this random coin and I turned it into 10,000, or I turned it into 100,000. Like, there's going to be stories like that always. But if you can kind of get out of that, and maybe you place a little bit of money, 1% of your portfolio in a moonshot. But if you can think long term, especially in crypto and especially in big currencies that you believe in long term, it's really hard to lose if the market does what you think it's going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a key thing you said is, only put in money that you're willing to, succumb to the volatility. And there's different levels here. It's like, everyone has different risk tolerances. So, for safer plays, there's inherent risk in almost every type of investing, even though I'd argue that, like, S&P 500 investing is almost not risky, almost no risk when it comes to,
Right.
oh, yeah, but it's still, we have years where it goes down and where there's 0% return and stuff, but over, the lifetime of it, it goes up. Um, but like that type of investment is like, if you only put money into the S&P 500 or something, if you don't need that money immediately, and if you're okay with watching it go down a little bit, up a little bit, stuff like that. And then, Bitcoin, it's like you put money into that, you feel the same way about it, but you maybe have a little bit longer, lens on, because those dips, it's not, oh my God, 10% down this year, or everything is terrible, the world is ending. Bitcoin could be 80% down in a year.
Yeah.
It's a much more violent reaction. But then there's even like the far, that when you get into the degen stuff or the YOLO stuff, or those things, that's not where, only put money in that you're willing to watch go up and down. That's where it's like, only put money in that you're willing to lose. Because literally, there's a bunch of crypto projects that, like you've said already, are not going to survive. And you have to kind of go into it with your eyes wide open, knowing that. So allocate appropriately if you do, after you've done your own research, and
Hmm.
decided that you want to do that with your money. But yeah, I mean, it's just like there's a whole spectrum of like risk here and decision making, and it's tough. But it's a smart way to go about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I'm 24, I have a really good sized portfolio. So my risk can be maybe a little bit different or a little bit more than someone who maybe this is their first day investing, or they're 55 years old and their retirement's in 5 years. So there's different level of risk for everyone, and everyone's going to have, what I call risky might be not risky to Andy, or vice versa. And so you have to be willing to understand that, like, what you read on the internet, if Andy says, or some random, we're just people on the internet, so we're just, we're not financial advisors. If we say we don't think this is risky, it's coming out from our own opinion, or if we say it is, right? But you might think, like, no way that's risky, like that's super low risk. But for me, like, being in both, starting in the stock market to now being in the crypto market, seeing that crypto, like 30%, 40% declines in a day are not out of the norm. Seeing my stock portfolio down 1% on the day, when my timeline of stock investors is like freaking out, I'm like, 1%, that's cake,
Yeah. Well, that's the beautiful thing about crypto. It's like, if you can survive a few years in crypto and experience a true bear market, a true crypto winter, or a true correction, I kind of feel invincible when it comes to like all investing. It's like I've already watched my portfolio go down 85%, or many of my positions go to zero, or many of my positions go down 99%. And I've watched it all go back up, and I've watched it come back down again. And I've been on this roller coaster for 5 years now. And when I see people in the stock market, I'd use the word whine about, or just complain about, down 10% this year, or, some stocks where they're down 20% or 30%. I'm like, that was just Tuesday for, a crypto investor or something. I really feel like crypto investing, like, really truly can prepare you for the worst, if you can survive it, if you can actually like make it through to the end.
Yeah, well, and one thing there, like, final note on this, like, is if you're putting money into crypto and you're staying up all night because you're worried about it, then you probably have too much money in crypto, or a volatile asset. So maybe, build up a solid foundation in, like, the S&P 500, or if you believe in crypto, something lower risk than, I don't know, would be like considered lower risk than like Bitcoin, but something where it's like, you are like, if you're putting your money into something and you're staying up all night because you're like, if it goes down 10% tomorrow, I'm screwed. And especially in the crypto space, then you have too much money in that. So something important to note there too. It's all about risk tolerance and risk management.
Yeah, and just in context too. If you have a $50,000 crypto portfolio, and you decide, I this degen play over here, this YOLO play, I'm convinced is going to be a 1,000 or a 10,000x, and you're very smart about your risk tolerance, and you put just 1% of your portfolio into that. You put $500 into that thing. Then if it goes to zero, you still have $49,500 in your portfolio, and you lost 1%. You can survive that. However, if you put that same $500 into that degen project, but your entire portfolio and the only money you have invested is $1,000, well, you just lost 50% of all that you have when it comes to that. So it's incredibly important, in my opinion, one, that when you watch Colin or you watch me and you see us talk about, we put $500 here, or $1,000 here, or 5,000 or 10,000, you view that through the lens of, what is that percentage compared to our overall portfolio? And, I really feel like I do an okay job. I could probably do a better job. Because like when I talk about, I put $2,000 into this thing, explaining that, my portfolio is $1.5 million, for example, and $2,000 is, not even a percent. So I think context is incredibly important in the space, especially when you watch people like us or follow other people on YouTube or Twitter, and you see them putting thousands of dollars into it. You have to view that through a lens, or through in context, because otherwise you can really like mess up your entire portfolio just by following someone else, not knowing what that looks like for them.
Yeah, if you try to chase returns, you might get lucky once, you might get lucky 5 times, you might get lucky 10 times, but there will be a time you probably do get burnt. You can lose it all if you just stay high risk all the time. So it's okay to you take a little bit of money and go have fun with it and go do high risk stuff. But going 100% high risk, it could work out and you could get lucky. There's always going to be stories of people doing that. But more often than not, stories time after time again, that doesn't usually work out.
Yep. Well, when someone takes $100 and they turn it into $100,000 or something like that, you hear those stories, but I mean, how many times do you hear those stories? I mean, in your entire time paying attention to the news, what have you seen? 50 news stories like that? And what are there? There's probably like 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 people who tried to do the same thing but did not, were not successful at it.
Yeah, I'm like the big story with like Shiba Inu, like that one guy. I can't remember the numbers, but he turned a little bit into a lot, like millions of dollars or whatever it was. And it's like, okay, that's one guy or gal, one wallet that did this with hundreds of thousands, millions of people that were buying Shiba Inu. So it's like, there's one story.
And the other end of that thing too, which is like super important, is you got to like follow up, like go find them on Twitter or on YouTube and watch them, and then see, did they actually capture that profit? I
Hmm.
mean, if you turn $1,000 into $20 million in Shiba Inu, and then you watch it fall back down to $500,000, it's still a great return, 1,000 to 500,000, but you could have had an opportunity to cash out a couple million just to be safe, just to cash it out. But, so oftentimes they don't do that, but you never see that part because the news just likes to sensationalize the meteoric rise, but they don't talk about what the fallout looks like.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
incredibly important.
yeah. That was like the guy with I don't remember his name, but he did that with Dogecoin,
Hmm.
and he turned like I can't remember the numbers, tens of thousands into 2 million or almost 2 million.
Hmm.
And he said he was diamond hands holding, and now I think his portfolio is down under 1 million, which is still a good return, like
Hmm.
you said, but it could have been 2 million.
Yeah.
But it's always hindsight's always 2020. So like to say, oh, it could have been 2 million, but now it's 850. It's like, well, it also could have been 10 million. You
Yep.
just never know. So it's like again, it's risk management and like just kind of trying to be smart and don't get over greedy because being over greedy can turn into bad.
Yeah, I mean, there certainly is an element of hindsight here. It's like you don't know. If he diamond hands it and it did do another 10x and then he sold, that's, there is some element that's like you have to allow for that to happen. But I think what it comes down to in situations like that is you have to make an exit plan. You have to have a spreadsheet that shows your entire position, and at what you deem as reasonable levels, you scale out of that position on the way up. I mean, this is at least how I view it and how I plan my stuff. That at one day as I hit certain metrics, I scale out over time, and that way I'm still capturing more and more profit all on the stair steps up, and then if it truly does go bonkers moon, straight to the moon at some point, I still have a bag ready to go to the moon. But if it never does do those highs, if it only hits those certain levels, at least at some point I took something off the table and I have something to show for it instead of absolutely nothing to show for it.
Hmm.
There are certain ones I'm like, I will ride this to zero or to great heights because it's such, a small amount and I don't have that big of expectations for it. But for anything that I have a serious position in, I map it all out. I don't know if you do that, but I think profit plan is like crazy important for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that from you. So everything I do is an Andy lesson to strategize and exit plan as an NFT project or as a crypto coin or something rises in value to have to have an exit plan to be able to leave and secure profits while also leaving some in there to maybe get that 1,000x or 100x.
Always have a moon bag. Never sell 100% of your position. Always keep 1% of it or some tiny fraction, because if I've learned one thing in crypto other than just the volatility and you're going to lose a lot of money and 80% corrections and crazy stuff. I've also learned, having lived through the last bull run, that the moment you think the run is over, it did a 10,000x, it made tons of money, sell everything, you're out. So many times I watched that thing do another 1,000, 5,000, 10,000x. Like when there's true FOMO in the market and there's truly rabid bull market and retail people are just buying like crazy, all bets are off. It's like those things are not guaranteed, but I've seen them happen enough that there's never a point where I will sell 100% of a bag, because there's always that chance that it does that
Right.
like wild extra thing when you think it's all over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so we just, we talked about, the current state and things. We talked about a little bit about like future, taking profit and stuff like that. So let's talk about the future. So, do you have like what's the next milestone? Like, do you have a net worth goal? Do you have a portfolio size goal by the time you're 30 or, whatever? Like, what are the kind of milestones that you're trying to measure your own success by?
Yeah, I mean, I live by the more and more I get into like, building a business, building a brand, like making money and investing, I start to realize the power of the quote by Bill Gates that says, the people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And so 1 year ago, I didn't expect to have the income I have, the net worth that I have, like the money I have coming in. So 1 year from now, I think I just tweeted yesterday some goals I want to have. And, I'm open about this stuff and it brings negativity to my page. People are like, oh, oh, whatever. I don't really, I just share my goals. So I don't even know, like, 10 years from now when I'm 34 or in 2030 when I'm, 32 or whatever the math is, I don't know where I'll be. I think I could say like I want to have $1 million, in the markets. That's I don't know. Maybe I get there quicker. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. Financial like milestones I want to hit next. I want to get $100,000 in just the S&P 500, just in VOO. Go back on the stock market now that I've hit some crypto goals, and then from there it's just continually like making more money to put into the markets. I know it's kind of like a easy answer. I know that's easier said than done. Just make more money. But I want to focus on increasing my income, increasing my cash flow because I was able to leave my 9 to 5 because of my cash flow. I wasn't. I don't have millions of dollars invested to quit my job and do nothing. But I had the cash flow to be able to replace my income from my 9 to 5 to leave it to do things that I actually enjoy doing every single day. And so my goals are just show up every day, provide value to people, teach people, learn, and then teach what I learn, and just continue to grow. And everything else will take care of itself. It's if I just focus on the money, then it'll come, but it will be kind of empty feeling. So for me, I focus on how can I help people? How can I share the great news of investing, I call it. How can I share all these things? And the money and all that stuff will take care of itself. And maybe in 5 years, I'll hit my millionaire goal. Maybe in 3 years, maybe in 8 years. I don't know. I probably will underestimate it. If I said 10 years from now, I want to be, I want to hit a millionaire. I think I'll underestimate. I think I'll get there quicker. But I think if I overestimate in 1 year and say I'll do that, it's just that quote always lives in the back of my head to just show up every day. And where I think I'll be in 1 year will probably be less than where I thought I was going to be. But in 10 years, I'll probably be a lot further if I continue to just show up every day and work to provide value to people.
Oh yeah, I think you're going to hit those things way sooner than that. Yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes. I love that quote by Bill Gates. But I modify it. I like it, but I like to also say, you people. People underestimate what they can do in a year, and they overestimate what they can do in a year, and they greatly underestimate what they can do in 10 years. But you will be blown away by what you can accomplish in a year if you show up every day. I mean, it's amazing what happens when you show up every day and you like put up ton of hard work and effort in the right places. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, like I got on Twitter and like built my brand. And I got on it on May of 2020, but I didn't start tweeting until July of 2020. And end of June 2021, I took it full time. So just 1 year, but that was a lot of freaking work in that 1 year. It wasn't just like it just happened. Like I worked my 9 to 5, then I come home and I'd work hours on it. I would work on the weekends, work Friday nights. Like I was grinding for a year straight. So I like that little addition, the Your Friend Andy edition.
That's right. Well, I mean, in 2020, no, 2021. That was what year is it? In 2021, I started 2021 with less than 100 followers on Twitter, and I ended 2021 with right about 40,000. I went from 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube to just over 30,000 subscribers on YouTube in that 1 year period, and then and also in just a few short months, we've built Sleep Money Club into like a serious business. Like if you just like put in the work in the right places, things happen so quickly. But yeah, if you can on top of that also stack that really long-term vision, like, where is all this stuff going to be in another, 6, 7 or 8 years, whatever the full 10-year timeline is going to be like. It's, if you just show up every day and you put in the dang work, it's going to be good stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
And you talked about something else that I want to touch on, which is, you know, uh, you talk about cash flow and increasing your income and stuff. And I think this is something that not enough people are talking about. I love that you're spreading the good word of investing, and you're a investing evangelist. That's good. We need
Yeah.
more of that, and that's a good thing. Not enough people do that, but also, on top of that, we need what you're doing, which is evangelizing the good news of increasing your income, or increasing the number of income sources you have. Because it's one thing to go, how do I can reduce my expenses, and I can spare an extra $500 per month to invest. Where do I invest that $500 per month? But what if, on top of that, you reduce your expenses, you get that $500 a buffer you can invest, but then you go do a side gig, or you start a side business, or you do, whatever it is, you mow some lawns, you drive some Ubers, you do whatever you can, and you go from $500 per month invested to $1,000 per month invested, or whatever. I mean, that's a game changer when you are able to increase your income or add income, not just from an investing perspective, but from a robustness.
Hmm.
There's been several times with both those, we had little, micro emergencies with various income sources and stuff. And it's okay. It sucks. But if you lose one, you have other ones to fall back on. And I really
Right.
believe in that idea of anti-fragility when it comes to income.
Yeah, I mean, even like in terms of, if you want to hit a millionaire really, really fast, like if you're starting from zero and you want to become a millionaire as fast as possible, without taking on like insane risk of like, I'm trying to get 100% returns every single year, you're going to have to invest a lot of money every month,
Mhm.
right? Or you have to do something that to be able to invest a lot of money every single month. And so, just that sheer fact of like increasing your income, if you want to can you get there on, $60,000 a year? Of course. It's just going to take longer. But if you're making $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year, you're going to get there so much faster just because of the basics of numbers, right? And then, yeah, in terms of adding those income sources, maybe it's asking for a promotion at your job after for 2 months, you're like, I'm going to do a little bit of extra work every single day. Then I'm going to go to my boss and ask for a promotion, ask for an increase in pay. Maybe I'm going to look for a new job. I've been working in this job for 5 years, for 3 years, and I think I'm really good at it, but I think I'm underpaid. So it is a market for employees right now where you're able to go out there and find a new job or at a new company that's going to pay you better. Maybe for doing the exact same stuff. Maybe it's like Andy said, picking up a side hustle, maybe starting a business, an online business. Maybe, there's so many ways to make more money. I believe in the abundance mindset. So like there's money out there to be made. You just have to find what works for you and get your little slice. And when I say little slice, it's like so teeny of a slice, super, super small slice can be an extra $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month. Maybe your side business becomes your main business.
Mhm.
The possibilities are endless, but you'll never know if you don't start, you'll just never know.
Yeah, I've jumped from job to job and had big time, 30, 40% raises and stuff when you do things like that. So you can certainly do the job hack where you just switch jobs and you make more with your main source of income. But also, yeah, it's figuring out ways to make money on the side. Like my current small business is one that I started on the side, which then eclipsed my main business, my 9 to 5. So I left my 9 to 5 and did this full time. And now what I'm talking to you on right now, the YouTubes on the internet, has outpaced my small business. So now I'm leaving, that to do all this full time. It's just kind of funny how that works if you put in the work. But also combine that with the ability to think long term, because I don't know when you started on YouTube, but I'm on year 2, I believe. As of June, I will be year 2. So in a month, I'll be on year 2 of YouTube. And first 6 months, first like 9 months, I barely made anything. And then the first year started really slow, and then kind of ramped its way up towards the winter. But I had this long term vision that if I just do these things, and I'm not advocating people start YouTube channels, but fill in the blank for whatever example you want. I had this long term vision that if I just do this stuff and I'm consistent and I keep improving over time, eventually it'll pay off in a big way. And it was right for me, but maybe yours looks different. But the point is long term thinking while chasing that thing with the hopes that one day it does what you want it to do.
Yeah, I mean, long-term thinking wins always. If you combine long-term mindset with hard work and smart work, anything is possible. It just might take a little bit longer than other people. It might take a year, 2 or 3. It might take 8 years. But in 8 years, I'm going to be 32. So, or no, yes, I'll be 32 years old. So,
Math.
yeah, math is tough. I'll be 32 in 8 years, no matter if I work on what I love, try to build something, or if I don't. So I might as well try to build something because I'm going to be 32 anyways. So that's how I've always thought of it.
Yeah, man, life is finite. We're gonna, I feel like when I was 24 is like yesterday, but no, it's that was over a decade ago for me. Um,
Well, I hope that tomorrow I don't wake up and I'm a decade older.
yes, let's hope that doesn't happen. Jump into a quick coma or get frozen for a little while.
Yeah.
But anyways, I look back and it's over in a flash, and it's like, how do you want to spend your time? Do you want to do it doing things you don't enjoy doing, or you want to like work towards doing things you do? I mean, that's like the end of the day kind of questions you have to ask yourself with this stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I said, I believe wholeheartedly in the long term mindset and to just wake up every day and do it again. If you fail, do it again, and that's where I've gotten to where I am, and where I will, and how I will get to where I want to be is just continually showing up every day, understanding that there's gonna be days when it's like, man, I lost a follower, or my business didn't make any money, or I side hustle, no one signed up for my platform, or no one signed up for my business, or no one bought that. I'm making baskets, no one bought my basket. Like, that's gonna happen. But you just got to keep showing up, because most people don't, and then your competition gets less and less and less every single time.
I would buy your basket, Colin.
I don't think anyone would, because I don't know how to make baskets, but if I tried, I don't think anyone would
I
still.
believe in you. You could do that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Before we close this thing out, one last topic I do think we should touch on, because it's something that me and you specifically talk about a lot. We both share our finances online publicly. We are public. We make YouTube videos. We tweet tweets. You in particular, you're young and you've already been very successful for your young age. I am not as young, or I'm not. I wasn't successful at that age, but I have found success later in life. And it seems that success is this magnet for people who want to ruin your success, or say negative things about your success, or try to bring you down to their level or something. And so, something we talk about a lot because we experience it a lot. So, I mean, I'm just kind of curious if there, general, advice you give to people who want to build online or create things or try or do stuff that their friends and their family all say is a stupid decision, but they're convinced it's like, what they need to be doing, and they're passionate about, excited about, it's a dream of theirs. But everyone around them seems to like want to discourage them.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day. Susie Orman, she's like a big in the finance space, and she said she was talking on a podcast, and she goes, "The elephant keeps walking while the dogs keep barking." And basically, what she was trying to portray, or the reason for that metaphor, is everyone wants to, like, everyone. I mean, hopefully, people like cheer you on to be successful. But then whenever you are successful, or whenever you start making the money that you're making, or your business does really well, then they want to tear you down. Not everyone, hopefully you surround yourself with people that don't do that, but to most people, that's what just human psychology seems like. And so for me, like, my thing is surround yourself with people that, want to see you succeed, and they don't like think that your success inhibits them from succeeding, because those people are negative energy, people. They're energy vampires. One of my college coaches like to call it. So they suck the energy out of you, because like, well, you're successful, I'm not going to be, so screw you. Don't be around those people. Those are not good people for your mind. But when it comes to like building online, like, yeah, I see it every single day. Like Andy and I talked earlier today. Someone, I put out a tweet and people are like, oh, saying stuff about it. And it's like, there's always going to be people that, even if you're creating content on like your daily vlog of your life, or, any kind of content on anybody's platform, whenever you start to get a following, people are going to come to hate. And that's just the internet. It's just keyboard warriors. You have to get thick skin. And it's easier said than done, and I struggle with it every time I see that stuff. Like, it's really hard for me to not to like want to say something. It's a learning process to like separate yourself from there and understand that they're just like a keyboard warrior. But like people, even your family might not support you in your endeavors, right? And it sucks. It's not fun, but you just have to believe in what you're doing. And again, easier said than done, but you have to believe in what you're doing. You have to like really strive and like be like, I don't really care what people say about me, what they say about my business, not in like trying to be, negative to them. It's just, I know what I want to do with my life. I believe in what I'm doing with my life. And if that person who's not where I want to be is trying to tell me no, then why am I going to listen to them? Because they're not where I want to be. So until someone that's like where I want to be tells me, hey, Colin, like what you're doing is bad, like you're not going to make it. Maybe, or hopefully they'll give you different avenues how to get there. But like, if don't listen to people that aren't where you want to be, because usually it's coming out of a form of jealousy or even hate. So you just gotta have thick skin, and you have to like stay focused to what you want to do, because you're gonna have people that say that, from internet people to people in your real life that don't want to see you win.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Yeah, I think the upshot is, when you have people who are friends or family or someone who is hating on what you're doing or discouraging what you're doing or saying it's a bad idea and it's your dream, the it doesn't feel good and it's not fun. It does suck, but if you can, see the positive side of all these things, you can go, okay, well, I get to find out who, my true friends are, who are the people who truly care about me and what I care about. And so it's kind of a freeing thing too, I've found. And then you get to make room in your life to, get to push certain people out and cut them out. If there's toxic people around you or people who are just negative all the time or are not an encouragement in your life, and you get to make room for other people who are those things and who do lift you up and encourage you on and challenge you and say the tough stuff when it needs to be said, but also congratulate you when you do the good things. And then it's like a net positive. It's just like it's a win in the long term, because when you surround yourself with people who are successful and hopefully even more successful than you, so you have something to chase, which is fun, in a non like ultra competitive but like friendly kind of a way. That's when the game changes, in my opinion. What I've found.
Yeah, and it's boiled down to, don't, you're gonna have a lot of small minded people that you're gonna be like, you're gonna share your goals with them, and they're gonna be like, you can't do that, or yeah, that's not possible. And you have to surround yourself with people that know that it is possible, and maybe they might not think it's necessarily possible, but they don't tell you that. They tell you like, hey, that I hope that happens. Like, I'm cheering you on, kind of thing. When you surround yourself with people that are small minded or don't see what's possible out there, it's really hard to get out of it. So you have to jump on the internet and go around people that like share those similar ideas and thoughts as you, so that you can use them and lean on them in times of things are not going well, that they can be like, hey man, pick it up, like you're doing great things, this is just a minor setback.
Yep. And it's not a guarantee of success. You might still fail at the dream you had. Because I've had plenty of failures in my life and stuff, but it's an opportunity to then go, okay, well, if that didn't work, what's the next thing I can try? It's not a guarantee of success, but at least you're setting yourself up for success when you surround yourself with those types of people, So yeah, I think that's fantastic advice. So, Colin, any last words for the people who have been watching this long? If you've watched this long, let me know down in the comments whose hat you like better, mine or Colin's. Who won the hat game today? But any last words?
I mean, my last words would be just like, start building your portfolio. Start investing. You're never too young. You're never too old. Just start. Right now is the perfect time to start. But also number two, like, also just start your journey of, building a business, building a side hustle. Where you are today doesn't have to be where you are tomorrow. It doesn't, metaphor, it doesn't have to be where you are in 5 years. Just start. Like, that's always my mantra, is like to just start, right? Whatever it is, just start. Most people sit on the sidelines because they're waiting for the right time. Newsflash, it is never the right time. It's never the perfect time. Just start. If you go immediately on your decision, you're going to be way ahead of everyone else that just is waiting for the right time. So I'm going to repeat myself again, but just start. Like, that's what, no matter what it is. And if you fail, you learn a lesson. See it as it's a lesson, not a failure. And get better at it. Get back up and start again. That's kind of my big mantra, and how I've gotten to where I am, is just by going whenever everyone else is waiting. I'll figure it out as I go, but I just want to go. I just want to start.
It's better to be building the airplane while it's flying instead of never starting to build it in the first place.
Exactly. Couldn't agree with you more.
So, Colin, where can people find you online if they want to follow along?
Yeah, all my socials, all my my YouTube and everything is Decade Investor. Twitter is at Decade Investor, no spaces, just how you spell Decade Investor. YouTube is Decade Investor. Instagram is also Decade Investor. I don't really go on there, but you can go on there and follow me if you want. But yeah, everything is Decade Investor, and I share pretty much every day. I do share every day something on the forms of building wealth, crypto, stocks, basically all things money, all over my channels.
And Decade Investor is his legal name, just in case you're curious.
Yes, I send a picture of my ID if you guys are curious.
Well, Colin, thank you very much for coming and being my first ever podcast, Andy and Friends, or whatever we're going to call this thing, guest. Thanks for being the first video on this new channel. I'm excited about this whole thing. And if you enjoyed this video, my chat with Colin here, I'm going to be doing more of these things, bringing other friends of mine, people in crypto space, other YouTubers on here and having chats with them. So if this is something you enjoyed, well, then click that little subscribe button, maybe even hit the bell icon and a like button too. Just smash everything that YouTube puts in front of you and we'll all be good. But otherwise, Colin, thank you very much for chatting with me. This was a blast, my friend.
Yeah, thanks again for having me. And like Andy said, everyone smash that like button.
Yeah. All right, everybody. See you later.